Howdy boys and girls, quick update. So today is Monday, I believe it's July 8th, and I'm getting ready to leave my home base of Cambridge and start trucking. But today's video is just a little bit about trucking, but also, you know, I'm sitting inside my car. So the car is back to normal, the brakes are working, which I'm very happy about. But what happened with the load is that if you saw the previous video, like 2 videos back, I brought a Caterpillar 336 excavator from Victoria, Texas to Concord, Ontario. And even before I took that load, I was offered a similar 336, but with a custom boom and custom attachment, which is also coming out of US, but very near, like close to New York City. And we negotiated a pretty decent rate, and there's only 3 states where I need permits for: Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and New York. And so I have the rate confirmation, the permits have been ordered, and I'm loading Wednesday early in the morning, and they requested weekend delivery, which I was happy to oblige, because, you know, I like driving on the weekend, and it's only 500 miles, but there's a bunch of tolls, you know, getting out of there, so I'm not sure how difficult it would be, because if they don't allow me on the toll highway, which they should, because I will be legal height, it's just I'm gonna be about 140,000 gross on 8 axles. But if they don't allow me on I-90 on any of those toll highways in there, it'll be a mess, because, you know, it's all very convoluted trying to bypass those tolls, and that's why they have them in the first place, because they know that people will realize that it would take much more time and nerve energy trying to save $5 and bypass the tolls. Of course, in my case, it's not that cheap. And by the way, speaking about tolls, last time I was in Chicago, Illinois, I stopped at one of those you know, rest areas where they have offices of the Illinois Tollway, and I updated my Easy Pass for the truck. And my previous one was just kind of like a block, like I think it's like 5 years old, and only now I noticed that it says expiry date, and it was like next year sometime. And so I was there, and turns out they switched to different designs, so now all these transponders are, instead of being blocky and big, now they're kind of like much smaller but a bit taller. And so I got my new transponder, but also, since I'm sometimes drive my car into US, one thing I discovered with Easy Pass, and you guys must be aware of this, is that if you're trying to, you know, use your truck transponder in your car, don't. Because when I called them on the phone, they said, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, we take a picture of your license plate. And then I look at my statement, and I see that even though I was driving my car, let's say, you know, last month to New York City and back, I see they charge me truck rate, semi-truck rate, which are the rates. Those rates are much higher, right? And when I complained about this other Illinois Tollway employee said, yeah, but you were using a truck, you know, truck transponder. I said, you know, and of course it's this kind of a situation. Basically, he said, she said, you know, like, yeah, I called before I went on a trip, and your, you know, partner in crime told me it was okay. Well, it's a transponder for the truck. So I said, what's the recommended course of action? Oh, well, you should get a separate transponder for your car. All right, and so that's what I did. When I was in Chicago, I upgraded my Easy Pass transponder for the truck. I got a brand new model, and I'm gonna attach it to the windshield because I know it's useless to move it to the car, right? That's why I had it loose, because I thought I would use it in my car, since I thought they would be able to differentiate between two vehicles, but clearly they don't. They just go by the transponder, especially when you're traveling in different states, right? Like Illinois, maybe, because it was issued in Illinois, but if you go to other states, you know, those guys, they just scan your transponder. They don't care about your license plate, about the color of your vehicle. Was, you know, my Kenworth is black, this color, this car is white, right? And different license plates, but anyway, so now I have two transponders under the same account for Illinois Tollway, which works anywhere and Easy Pass is accepted. So that's great news, and I should remember before I leave tomorrow to move it to my car. And what's funny is that when she gave me the transponder, she wrapped it in foil, and I'm like, what are you doing, you know? And she says, well, you're driving your truck now, right? I said, yeah. And she says, well, you know, duh, like if we don't wrap it in foil, the next, you know, transponder reader will read both of your transponders and charge you for the car and for the truck. I said, no, we don't want that. So, you know, it's bad enough when you charge me truck rates for the car when I'm driving my car. So anyway, that's another thing, right? And so now, yeah, everything is signed. The rate is good. The rate is perfect. Actually, mile-wise, it's a much better rate than the one I got from Victoria, Texas. Like, these guys are just greedy. I don't want to work with Landstar, especially out of Canada. It's so hard to get a good rate out of them, you know. And so I drove 1,650 miles empty, and then 1,650 miles loaded, and I paid $2,700 US for permits, which they reimbursed me. And so I got the money today, but if you look at what's left, you know, it's not that much for pretty much like 10 days of work. Anyway, so back to the car. So I upgraded, quote unquote, the brakes, right? And I lost 50% of the brakes. And sometimes that happens with the upgrades. And then I went on this trip, and I talked to OK Tire. I said, when I get back, you know, as per their recommendation, let's reinstall the factory calipers. We're gonna leave the rotors. Like, I like the look of these new rotors, and you know, the new brake shoes or brake pads are supposed to be much better than factory ones. I said, let's leave those and just reinstall the calipers, because I lost my main brakes, and also I lost my parking brake. It was barely holding, you know. But when I came back, you know, now I got paid today, so I had money in my account. Always a good thing, right? And I figured, you know what, I'm sorry, but I don't trust these guys with the brakes anymore, because they said they road tested the car, and yet it was real scary to drive, I'm sorry to say. So I took it to Chrysler. Of course, I knew they would punish me with $1 or рубль, накажут рублем. So it was expensive, but now I have everything working. I got my parking brake working. I got my main brakes basically back to the same way they were, maybe a little bit better, except now I got these drilled and slotted rotors, right? So you see, I like the look of these rotors, right? Drilled and slotted. And so we reinstalled the Brambos, right? Like my original ones. And see, now that's the same black Brambos everywhere. Right, and originally I had this one here, right? But, oh, and also what they did is they cleaned it up. He took this one off together with the other ones, and he, what they call, serviced the brakes. He serviced the brakes, he cleaned them, he made sure they worked properly. And so now what I have, so I got these rotors. Right, you see these are the factory ones. They didn't have any holes. They just had this. So now I have to decide what I'm doing with them. Either there's one guy that wants to buy them here, so either I sell them because they're pretty heavy. So I got 4 of these, right? So, and I only had 5,000 miles or 8,000 kilometers on them. So either I sell them privately or I send them to Summit Racing as a partial core charge exchange. And these are the old, no good rotors. You know, they're awful. They're remanufactured, they don't work properly, so they're going back to Summit Racing. The good thing is that Summit Racing has a policy of 90-day no question exchange, and this is a legitimate exchange because, you know, I cannot drive my beautiful car without brakes, right? I need good brakes, you know? Like especially when I'm driving on a track, you know, at 200 kilometers an hour, I need to have good brakes. So that's the update. So the brakes are fixed. The car is good to go. Maybe when I come back from this trip, I'm gonna go find another race course. There's one near Scarborough here. Because when I come back, another update. When I come back, I gotta go and fix my leaking hydraulic oil tank behind the sleeper on the truck. And there's one more issue. For some reason, when I turn on my PTO in the truck, you know, to run hydraulics, for some reason there's no logo on the dash. Like either the light bulb has burned or something, but I want them to take a look at it. So basically, when I come back, I need to take the truck to Kenworth and let them. My main concern is the oil tank. It's not the main truck tank, but the oil, that hydraulic oil that feeds the trailer. So now there's no leak. I fixed it temporarily. I put a strap, a bunch of rubber things, and some glue in there, but it's not good. And so that's what's going to happen over the next few days. So thanks for watching, boys and girls. Be good. Please don't leave me any nasty comments anymore, otherwise I'm gonna block your ass, okay?